I'll be the first to admit that this isn't the usual kind of topic I write about. I mean, the intro should speak for itself. These two things don't really go together. For the past year, I've been doing reviews on specific games, and that has been perfectly fine. I love them, with the occasional streamer montage. It's a nice variety. Good job me. But while I was working on my Nintendo Land video, it got me thinking, why exactly is local multiplayer dying? There are many obvious reasons for this, but it's odd to me that what was once a staple of gaming has been quickly going down in a downward spiral of uncertainty. Will we ever see local multiplayer games return like they once were? I'm just going to jump into these questions now. Now, the first reason anyone will immediately jump to is the internet. No dip, Sherlock! Why force consumers to get together, especially due to real-world events, when they can just play online? I will always stand by the fact that being able to play with anyone around the world will always stand as a huge accomplishment. My generation may take it for granted now, but it will always be such an awesome feat in this industry. But that doesn't mean it has its fair share of problems. Going online hasn't magically made every problem just go away. Sure, if you are playing Bed Wars in Minecraft, that's fine, I guess. It's simple fun. And remember, online isn't always a smooth experience. Like, come on, what is this? I'm like barely moving. But there is something about getting together in the same room playing Mario Kart or Smash Brothers together. Even though I can play these games with my friends in my own house, I still always bring these games up as suggestions to play because it's such a different experience. I mean, neglecting the fact that they don't like to play with me because,
Welcome back to Danerade 200%ing a 9-year-old kid.
Alright, we've been getting sidetracked too much. Back on topic. As a good couch co-op example, take for instance PvZ versus mode, which was part of a tournament I recently participated in.
I'm terrified for some reason. Always believe in stuff.
Is it impressive to get a local multiplayer game running online? Yes, of course. Especially since without the workaround of using Parsec, we wouldn't have been able to gather such a large variety of creators together to do something so cool. It was intense, it was fun, but just look up any video of PvZ versus mode on YouTube and you will see results like this.
Yeah. Augustin! No, shoot him! Come on, guys! No! Give me a run pair! Run pair, yes! Run pair! Go! Go, run pair! That's so not fair!
Trying to put down a zombie. He did apparently. Oh my god! He's getting raped!
Getting bombarded.
It's like, okay, I'm saving up. Here we go!
That right here is what I am talking about. Pure human interaction, face-to-face, mano-y-mano. See, humans are just instinctively social creatures. Now, some of you watching might take a moment and pause after you heard that phrase, but to everybody else who's not watching my videos, you know, those who are enjoying life, it's that interaction that makes the best gaming moments truly shine. This back and forth between online and local multiplayer leads to another problem to the death of this medium. We are never satisfied. Turn on any review, and for one game, some underpaid Game Explain reviewer might bring up the point that they loved Overcooked 1, but wished it had online play. Then another time, someone else might bring up that while the online play in Apex Legends is fun, I just realized that's a dumb example. Who likes Apex Legends? Okay, anyways, if someone out there likes the online in Apex Legends, including a split-screen co-op mode would bring wonders to the replayability of the game. Having this back and forth between wanting online in some games and local co-op in other games has forced developers to pick their poison. Some games like Animal Crossing New Horizons have both as an option, but from a time and cost standpoint, most developers simply cannot afford to implement both in their game. And remember, Animal Crossing New Horizons was delayed to not rush the final product anyways. What would developers rather choose? Local multiplayer, where players can only play your game when they have friends over, or online play, where players can play their game whenever they want, and you sell more copies of your game since everyone has to have their own copy to play. You see the problem here? It's a no-brainer no-brainer for developers to pick the online route because it is generally more appealing to customers and makes a great tagline to put on the back of the box. Developers are stuck in this endless loop where it is impossible to appeal to both sides of the aisle. You are inevitably going to alienate part of your core audience. Here's another reason to consider. For this one, we had to turn back the clock to the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Wii days. Remember how many party games there were? For me personally, when I think shovelware, all I can think of are those bland minigame collections on the Wii. Smack some appealing art on the box and bada bing bada boom, some poor parent shopping at Walmart will go, ooh, my little Timmy is going to love Alvin and the Chipmunks on Wii. Game Party, Wonder World Amusement Park, Family Vacation, 30 great games. I can confirm all 30 of them aren't that great. There was simply too much bad from good in this selection of games, and even then, the consistently great local multiplayer games were taking a bit of a downturn during this generation. Remember Mario Party? Oh no, please go back. Remember Super Smash Bros. Melee? Well, here Meta Knight is literally a triple S tier character. How do you screw up that bad? This downturn led to this huge quantity over quality, which in my opinion led gamers elsewhere.
Danerade says subscribe to Danerade.
Do it!
And when those gamers did look elsewhere, they found options for local multiplayer, but they just weren't anything noteworthy. Oh boy, do you want to pop balloons and Splatoon 1 together? No, I don't. When developers are forced to include just any kind of mode you can play locally, they usually just shoehorn in some jank game mode that no one really cares about or remembers. These are just the modes to smack on the box to say that this game right here has local multiplayer just for the sake of marketing purposes. This is just lazy and a bland way of thinking that we have to include some sort of 2 to 4 player mode. All of this just circles back to how greedy and life-sucking some companies are, requiring a certain amount of modes, a specific length, etc. This often leads to bland products that both sides, players and developers aren't happy about, but that's a topic that we could branch off into its own video. Just earlier, I briefly mentioned how the oversaturation of party games really hurt the genre during the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and Wii days. With this, there was a glimmer of hope for the genre through Nintendo. Going into the next generation of consoles, it seemed like Nintendo might be king once again. They had name recognition, they were continuing to innovate, and they weren't the reveal of the Xbox One. It was a pretty good looking start, all things considered. Early in the Wii U's life, it seemed like Nintendo wanted to throw their hat in the ring by putting a lot of effort into their early software lineup, and lots of which included multiplayer experiences built around the Wii U gamepad. Some better than others. You've got Nintendo Land, expertly utilizing the gamepad in new creative ways, and placing blocks in New Super Mario Bros. U. I gotta be honest, when I played this with friends, I used the blocks to make them lose, not to help them, so like mission failed, I guess. And then... the new generation was looking forward to better graphics, higher resolution, consistent frame rate sometimes, and blue lights on our controllers that make the battery life a lot shorter than it should be. You could make the argument that there was a handful of solid multiplayer options during the 7th generation, but during the 8th generation, they just kind of gave up. And the failure of the Wii U kind of proved that consumers weren't really interested in this local multiplayer frenzy. No matter how that smirking Disney Channel actor Bradley Perry wants me to know, I just don't care about Wii Party U or, oh, but you can work together to beat levels in Super Mario 3D World. Who cares? All I want is the crown and to keep it, not to cooperate. Now, despite this, I don't want to paint a super doom and gloom picture. In my opinion, we're kind of seeing a resurgence per se with this genre, with games like Cuphead, Overcooked 2, Among Us. Most of them have some sort of online and at the very least have local multiplayer features built in that don't feel obtrusive. Even Halo Infinite has committed to including some sort of split-screen co-op, a surprise for sure after the controversial decision to not include such a mode in Halo 5, a staple of the series. Rocket League, Human Fall Flat, Unravel 2, Portal 2, Snipperclips, these are all great games that have indeed seen great critical and commercial success stories. And it's also not like the 7th generation of consoles was severely lacking in local multiplayer games. Nintendo was killing it on the DS. Mario Party DS, Mario Kart DS, and the greatest DS multiplayer game, the Versus mode in New Super Mario Bros., one of the greatest modes ever created. So why? Why do I bring all this up? I think it shows how this industry is constantly evolving. It's quite unpredictable. Remember a while back when everybody said VR was a fad and how only the 1% of the 1% could not only afford it, but it could also continuously use it? Well, just recently, Steam users with a VR headset just cracked 2%. That might seem like a tiny number, but with 120 million active Steam users, having at least a tiny bit of that market share is worth talking about. This proves that VR games now are profitable and can reach a whole brand new set of gamers. The whole VR dynamic I just explained perfectly encapsulates the crazy, unpredictable nature of this industry. Remember, video games are the biggest entertainment medium in the world. That's right, video games now generate more money than music, TV, and movies. Crazy, right? And to think that video games was once seen as a cheap, juvenile form of entertainment at your local Chuck E. Cheese. But because of the young age of this industry, I think we're going to continue to see some shifts this generation. Maybe pure graphics aren't the way to go. Xbox has been pushing hard with its pro-consumer moves like Game Pass. They've been putting a lot of their software lineup on Windows 10 at the same time as their Xbox consoles. Then there is Sony, just kicking around doing the same thing. Are they ready to be second or even worse, third place during this console generation? It's hard to tell. Might I add that the PS5 is selling quite miserably in Japan, which Sony is based out of Japan? Whoops, that's not a good sign. So, circling back once again to the whole point of this video, I think we are seeing a resurgence in local multiplayer games. I think now that since the flashiness of online gaming has died off, I think, just maybe, both these modes can coexist once again with each other again. Maybe developers are seeing the success of other games and want to implement it in their games. Remember, this industry is based around the idea of sharing, and sometimes stealing, ideas from one another. And when one game starts something and hits it big, the rest follow in its footsteps like sheep.
It was all just a dream.
I just don't get it. I know he is not real, but he is still here. His spirit still roams, and I fear he is haunting me. My dreams are telling me something. I swear, you would understand, Womp, wouldn't you?
Well, Woodrow screwed up again.
What do we do now? Well, I suggest we nominate a new leader. I think the best contender here is Andrew.
That sounds like a really good idea. I mean, that's a lot of responsibility. I don't know. Let me think about it. Oh, and while we are here, what should we do with this thing?
Just throw it away. There is nothing we can do about it now. Drop it in the well. Anything, for all I care.
For all in favor of ditching Woodrow, say aye.
Aye.
Well, that settles it then.
Drop it in the well. Anything, for all I care.